a gallery of almost in the pale electric gleams of my bedside lamp. They're fragile, they are soft and vaguely formed, like the promises you uttered before our love was stormed. And shattered, I can shape them with the heat of my own hands into something almost beautiful, as if from distant lands of possibility. A figure reaching out, a face that almost looks like longing or a semblance of your grace. But they wilt in the daylight, they grow soft and start to droop, a slow pathetic surrender to a fundamental loop. A failure, my medium is faithless, it cannot hold a line, just like the vows we made over cheap and hurried wine. And the flame is always guarding, a dancing orange ghost that threatens to consume the work I value the very most. I'd let it burn the whole display to a pool upon the floor, but even ash has more substance than what I'm sculpting for. I cast them in the negative, the spaces you left bare, the hollow of your pillow, the shape of your old chair. It's a reverse archaeology, digging not for bone, but for the perfect imprint of where you have now flown. Away from the wax takes the shape of nothing, of the void, a perfect smooth reflection of the love I once enjoyed and now just miss with every fiber, every cell, every thought. A museum of absences that cannot be bought or sold, or even looked at without feeling the keen edge of the knife of what might have been. And the flame is always guttering, a dancing O-ring ghost that threatens to consume the work I value the very most. I let it burn the whole displayed to a pool upon the floor, but even ash has more substance than what I'm sculpting for. So I'll be the wax worker, the molder of the gone, shaping ephemera from dusk until the dawn. An artist in a medium designed to not endure, a symptom and a symbol of a love not quite so pure. And the flame is always guttering, a dancing O-ring ghost that threatens to consume the work I value the very most. I'd let it burn the whole display to a pool upon the floor, but even ash has more substance than what I'm sculpting for, than what I'm sculpting for. A chore, a door on a sore floor. things I can't take back. Like hope, I measure out the length with practice. Solemn care, a craftsman of the ending in the still and heavy air of this room. Each knot I tie is a chord I'll never play, a progression into silence at the closing of the day. Of us, the neck is the gallows, the body is the drop, a morbid, quiet instrument that makes the music stop. For good, I don't intend to use them. It's not that kind of plan. It's just a demonstration of the limits of a man or a woman left with nothing but the tools of an old art, and turning them toward the chambers of a broken, lonely heart, to see what shape the suffering will take when given form. A sculpture of surrender in the eye of the storm. And the wood is branding dryly with a strain of beaten rust into something so awful from a song that should be sung. I'd string it for beauty, but my fingers have forgot the fretting of joy's melody in this sorrowful, sad spot. I hang them from the ceiling, these 6 potential silences. They turn in drafts of memory with eerie, slow cadences. A mobile for the morning, a kinetic art display of everything I wanted but could never make you stay. Enough to hear they are the final, most perverse love song, a ballad of the could not last, of everything that's wrong. We're trying to hold music when the players left the stage and left you with the echoes of a never written page. And the wood is cracked and dry with a strain of being worked into something so awful from a song that should be sung. I'd string it for beauty, but my fingers have forgot the fretting of joy's lonely in this sorrowful, sad spot. So I'll be the luthier of loss, the stringer of despair, weaving empty harmonies into the stagnant air. just confirm the direction of the ever-growing pain that leads back to the moment where the we became a me. A cartographic tragedy for only me to see. And the dial is fogged with tears, the cardinal points are gone, replaced by yesterday's regret. And where we first went wrong, I'd smash the glass and bend the needle to a new and yarn north. But my hands are too busy shaking at the sadness we brought forth. I'd calibrate the nightly by the light of a single star. That's really just a street lamp seen from very, very far. A false and distant beacon for a lonely lost mariner who's sailing in a puddle, growing ever thinner, sir. And madam, the compass, it is all gathering a silent gleaming troop upon the shelf I built for them. A sad and spectral group of instruments that promise what they never can deliver. Way back to the river where we were the happy giver and taker of a current that has long since changed its course, leaving me with only this remorseful, frail resource. A tool that points to nowhere but the ruins of the past. A technology of heartache that was built to never last. And the dial is fogged with tears, though the cardinal points are gone, replaced by yesterday's regret. And where we first went wrong, I'd smash the glass and bend the needle to a new and calmer north. But my hands are too busy shaking at the sadness we brought forth. So I'll be the compass maker for this internal frozen sea, crafting guides to a geography that only pains me. A navigator of the backward glance, the never forward view, until the needles all snap off and tell me nothing. And the dial is fogged with tears, though the cardinal points are gone, replaced by yesterday's regret. And where we first went wrong, I just smashed the glass and bent the needle to a new and clearer north. But my hands are too busy shaking at the sadness we brought forth, at the sadness we brought forth from a dear of worth on this earth. own arm, marking time and shadows with a mellow colored charm. Each hour line is a memory of where the light once fell, when you were here to cast it and my heart was under your spell. The numb line is a sliver of the bone of our last fight. It points a sharp and truthful edge into the fading light of afternoon. It tells the time and moment since you've gone, a brutal slow arithmetic from dusk until the dawn. And the dial never lies, it's wet with evening deep. Or is it just the tears that make the skin look good and tender? I bandage it and hide the cruel line, but the scars are the only thing that proves you were ever mine. Trace the numerals with a fingernail grown sharp. VI for the silence, T's for the dark. The shadow creeps from longing over into deep regret, a solar timepiece measuring the things I can't forget. Even as I wish I could, it's a permanent appointment with the past, a brutal anointment of my skin with the story of a failing, fading sun. A horologist of heartache when the daily races run. And the dial never lies, it's wet with evening dew. Or is it just the tears that make the skin look mud and tender? I bandage it and hide the cruel sign, but the scars are the only thing that proves you were ever mine. Personal slow clock, etching pain in dermis, weathering the shock of each passing hour. A living, breathing art, where the only thing that's timeless is this ache inside my heart. And the dial never lies, it's wet with even dew. Or is it just the tears that make the skin look good and tender? I bandage it and hide the cruel sign, but the scars are the only thing that proves you were ever mine. That proves you were ever mine. A sign, a line in the design. Started stitching parachutes from the linings of my coats, a silken futile project for a woman who just floats in place and never falls, except inside her mind, where the ground is always rushing up and she is always blind to the landing. Each seam is a promise I made to you, that I would be there, steady, when the turbulence came through. But the turbulence was you leaving, a sudden violent drop, and I'm left here with my sewing at the very mountaintop of despair, with a parachute that's much too small and made of the wrong stuff and pretty though, I think, with patches of your laughter and the missing link between us, represented by a button that's undone, a fastening that promised what it could never truly become. Secure, I pack it neatly in a bag upon my back, a decoration for a journey I know I'll never track. And the R.I.P. chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's frayed and loose and useless as I walk this path alone. I jump just to test the theory that the fabric might unfold, but the canyons fill with white and it swallowed up the world. I practice the positions in the mirror late at night, arms spread, knees bent, preparing for a flight that's never gonna happen. I am grounded by the weight of the love I'm carrying, a most unfortunate freight that drags me down and keeps my feet glued to this solid floor, while my heart plummets endlessly behind a mental door I cannot open. So the parachute's an art piece, a display of what it looks like to be ready to get blown away, but never quite achieving it. A monument to almost hanging in the closet like a particularly devoted ghost. And the R.I.P. chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's fried and loose and looseless as I walk this path alone. I jump just to test the theory that the fabric might unfold, but the canyon's filled with white and it swallowed up the world. So I'll be the seamstress of the unrequired of the state, sewing pretty nothings for a catastrophic day that's already past, a tailor for a static endless fall, with the most beautiful useless safety device of all. Then the R.I. chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's frightened, loose and useless as I walk this path alone. I jump just to test the theory that the fabric might unfold, but the canyon's filled with white and it swallowed up the world, and it swallowed the world. A pearl to pearl and swirl, dream unfurled. I've started stitching parachutes from the linings of my coat, a silken futile project for a woman who just floats in place and never falls, except inside her mind, where the ground is always rushing up and she is always blind to the landing. Each scene is a promise I made to you, that I would be there steady turbulence came through. But the turbulence was you leaving a sudden violent drop. And I'm left here with my soul in at the very mountaintop of despair, with a parachute that's much too small and made of the wrong stuff entirely. Memories that will fade in the first real blast of wind. It's pretty though, I think, with patches of your laughter and the missing link between us, represented by a button that's undone, a fastening that promised what it could never truly become. Secure, I pack it neatly in a bag upon my back, a decoration for a journey I know I'll never track. And the right chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's frayed and loose and useless as I walk this path alone, and I'd jump just to test the fury that the fabric might unfold. But the canyon's filled with white and it swallowed up the world. I practice the positions in the mirror late at night, arms spread, knees bent, preparing for a flight that's never going to happen. I am grounded by the weight of the love I'm carrying, the most unfortunate freight that drags me down and keeps my feet glued to this solid floor, while my heart plummets endlessly behind a mental door I cannot open. So the parachute's an art piece, a display of what it looks like to be ready to get blown away, but never quite achieving it. A monument to almost hanging in the closet like a particularly devoted ghost. And the heartbeat chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's fried and loose and useless as I walk this path alone. I jump just to test the theory that the fabric might unfold, but the canyon's filled with void and it swallowed up the world. So I'll be the seamstress of the unrequired of the state, sewing pretty nothings for a catastrophic day that's already past a tailor for a static endless fall, with the most beautiful useless safety device of all. And the RE chord is a memory of your hand within my own. It's bright and loose and useless as I walk this path alone. distant saxophone weep in the night. The coffee's cold, but the memories stay of a love that slipped like a tune away. I trace the rim where your lipstick used to play. So play that melody, sweet Lord. Let the harmony come and go. In this midnight hue, I'm missing you and the dreams we used to know. The raindrops trace on the window pane, a syncopated, sad refrain. The piano keys, black and white, confess the gentle ache of this emptiness, a rhythm of longing, nothing less. So play that melody, sweet and low. Let the harmony come and go. In this midnight hue, I'm missing you and the dreams we used to know. Lights start to climb. The stage is empty for the very last time. They're stacking chairs we're used to listening. A waiter clears the table set for two and takes your untouched glass of gin. The bass packs up his deep and fading sound. The pianist leaves without a glance around. The cymbals whisper as the drummer goes, and in this sudden silence my heart knows the only melody left is the one that slows. I play the standards, every tried and true. I phrase each chorus hoping to reach you. A minor seventh aching in the night, a major lift towards some forgiving light, but you were gone before the tune was right. I couldn't cross, so walked away. They'll open up tomorrow night at 8. Another crowd will gather at the gate. Another voice will sing this very song to someone new, and help them feel they belong, and prove that I was probably wrong. So let them have the spotlight and the praise, the smoky haze of future nights and days. For me the music's folded in its case, a silent polished mirror to my face, in this cold, final, unforgiving space. Slow rain traces the window glass. The city breathes in shades of brass. This empty room's a hollow shell where our old ghosts pretend to dwell, and every note I play just seems to tell. I brew the coffee strong and black to face the things I won't take back. The records spin the worn out sound on this tired, cold, familiar ground where every joy I thought I'd found. Your side of bed is neatly made, a simple and a sharp charade. The silence hangs where laughter's spilled, a bitter void that's never filled. And now the summer's nearly chilled. Keys that turn in quiet locks, and four bare walls and steady clocks that mock the heart their ticking marks. So let the nighttime do its worst. Let memory rehearse. The blues are just a tired game, a slow burning and borrowed flame that answers to no person's name. The saxophone lies silent on the stand, a dusty relic in my trembling hand. I try to play our song, the one we knew, but every note just echoes back for you and fills this hollow space I'm stumbling through. The piano keys are cool beneath my touch. They used to say so little, now say so much. Each chord I strike, a question in the air, a dissonance that leads to nowhere, just hangs between the walls and my despair. I packed your records in a cardboard box, a final stacking of forgotten locks. Each cover holds a whisper of a dance, a fleeting, foolish, fleeting, sweet romance, now sentenced to the dark by simple chance. The morning comes, a gray and quiet thief. It offers no discussion, no relief. It takes the shadows where your shape once lay and leaves a brighter, colder, blank parade of hours that must somehow be repaid. So let the day be empty, let it pass. I'll watch the sunlight bleed across the glass, and when the Sunlight through the blinds in sharp, neat lines. It cuts the dust on where your heart left mine. I make one cup, not two. The morning's brew is bitter as the last. I love you, and just as we can overdo. Ticks of ordinary time, a metronome for the unfinished rhyme. The neighbors laugh, a trumpet's distant shout, a melody I can't quite figure out. It only adds to my last lingering doubt. Music for a song now shorn of its main theme, its sweet harmonic hook, just fragments by a babbling lonely brook, and every single one's a stolen look. In the closet sway, a slow, sad dance at end of day. They hold the ghost of silk, of cotton blend, a promise that was easy to extend, and even easier to bend than end. I'll learn to walk in time with my jazz was never made for one to play. It needs the blend that gives the wild fray. It needs a duet to make sense of the day.
last note fades into the smoke-filled air. A silence settles on the empty chair. The microphone still hums a low complaint, a ghost of all the feelings that it ain't. A taste of love grown fragile, gone and faint. I played the changes, followed every chart, tried to improvise a brand new start. But every run I made, each borrowed phrase, just circled back through those final days. A solo own hollow maze. The clinking glass, the murmur of the crowd, a camouflage I'm wearing like a shroud. They think I'm selling sorrow pure and deep, a vintage blues that's cheap enough to keep, not just the bones where my own heart's asleep. Tomorrow night I'll wear the same old smile and stretch that 3 minute into half a mile. I'll sell the ache, I'll make the teardrop fall and give them back their sorrows, one and all, while mine stands waiting just beyond the hall. So let the spotlight burn, let them applaud this empty ritual I've learned to fraud. The greatest lie a singer ever tells is selling someone else's farewell bells while living in the one where his own heart dwells. The last note fades into the smoke-filled air. A silence settles on the empty chair. The microphone still hums a low complaint, a ghost of all the feelings that it ain't. A taste of love grown fragile, gone and faint. I played the changes, followed every chart, tried to improvise a brand new start. But every run I made, each borrowed phrase, just circled back through those final days. A solo lost in its own hollow maze. The clinking glass, the murmur of the crowd, a camouflage I'm wearing like a shroud. They think I'm selling sorrow pure and deep, a vintage blues that's cheap enough to keep, not just the bones where my own heart's asleep. Tomorrow night I'll wear the same old smile and stretch that 3 minute into half a mile. I'll sell the ache, I'll make the teardrop fall and give them back their sorrows, one and all, while mine stands waiting just beyond the bell. this empty ritual I've learned to fraud. The greatest lie a singer ever tells is selling someone else's farewell bells while living in the one where his own heart dwells.
The piano bench still holds your silhouette, a ghost I haven't moved or faced just yet. The coffee cup you left beside the sink has stained the porcelain a lasting ink, a silent bitter toast to what I think. I walk the park where evening starts to fall, and hear the distant laughing rise and fall of someone else's joy, so light and free, a syncopated, careless melody that only underlines what's missing me. Solitary tune, a minor key lament for afternoon. I rearrange the books upon the rack to try and fill the spaces you pulled back, and hide the glaring, simple, hurting lack. The telephone sits quiet as a stone, its dial tone the world I walk alone. I memorize the numbers I won't call, a useless mental lonely protocol to build a thin and artificial wall. So dawn will come and wash the night away, and turn the deep blues into muted gray. I wear the daylight like a borrowed suit, and muffle every string and every flute, and learn by heart the sound of being mute. A single lamp now lights the room at 4, a spotlight for the dust upon the floor. The rhythm of the rain against the glass replaces all the questions that I asked and all the answers that were meant to last. The second pillow on the unmade bed holds just the echo of the words we said, a hollow where a harmony should be, a silent unresolved chord for me to face alone uncomfortably. With nothing but the news, and offers I am certain to refuse. The world moves on with its agenda clear, while I am stranded in this time stuck here, where every ending feels unnervingly near. I put your favorite record on to play, then take it off before the first refrain. The melody's too perfect and complete, a polish finished in discreet deceit against this rough and unrefined defeat. Stretches thin and overbrewed, a bitterness I slowly have imbibed. I'll let the shadows claim their due and spread and haunt the spaces in my heart and head. Call it jazz and put myself to bed. The club is closed, the ashtrays have been cleared, a hollowed stage where nothing is revered. I count the cracks along the wooden floor, the ones I memorized from nights before, when I was waiting by the service door. The street lamp bleeds an orange sickly light. It doesn't warm or make the evening right. It just confirms the chill that's in the air, a season shift, a deep and cold despair that finds a home and settles surely there. I sold the ring to pay over to rent. A simple, cold, and practical event. The jeweler's light showed every flaw and scratch, a perfect mirror for our final match. And how the shine had faded from the cash. The neighbors fight, a loud and blurry sound, a dissonance that shakes the walls around. I find I miss the quiet of our war, the glacial silence settling on the shore of what we were and would be nevermore. So I'll sit still until the morning breaks and makes its bright, forgiving, clean mistakes. I'll wear the day in all its cheerful noise, a perfect, polished, well-concealed decoy for one who's lost the taste for fragile joys. The silence in this room has taken root. It grows in corners, presses like a boot. The clock's loud tick is just a baseline now, a walking rhythm I don't know how to solo over or to disavow. I find a hairpin on the bathroom tile, a tiny silver solitary smile. It winks at me beneath the fluorescent glare, a fossil from a season of your care, a sudden, sharp and unexpected snare. The supermarket's too bright, cheerful aisle, a cruel endurance trial, mile by mile. I buy for one, my basket light and small, and try to not recall the weight of groceries meant for two in fall. Say to write it down, to make it art, to pour the poison out and purge the heart. But every metaphor just feels a lie, a dressed up version of a single sigh beneath a vast and unforgiving sky. The night will pass, a river dark and deep. I'll bargain with the demons till I sleep and wake again to fight the creeping chill with practiced breath and artificial will upon this empty, cold and lonely hill. The radio plays songs we used to hate. Now they're the only company I keep this late. A talk show host discusses planetary science, while I untangle old forgotten lines of thought that twist like unpruned stubborn vines. The radiator coughs a blast of heat, a conversation fake and incomplete. It fills the space where dialogue should be, a poor stand-in for your philosophy on love and life and what you saw in me. I practice smiles before the bathroom glass, a fleeting, fragile and transparent past. I stretch my mouth to fit a happier shape, a vain attempt at a clean escape from the relentless morning silent tape. The fridge contains a science experiment, a condiment that bears your last intent. I throw it out a small and sour right, a tiny single solitary fight against the lingering pervasive night. So I will learn the grammar of the loam, the syntax of a life lived on its own. I'll conjugate the verbs from us to me and find the bitter quiet harmony of being my own awkward company. The blues ain't just a scale or a slow, sad song. It's the coffee pot boiling for one all day long. It's the echo in the hallway where your laughter used to run. It's the morning sun accusing me for all that I've undone. I polish my old trumpet till the brass begins to shine, trying to erase the fingerprints you left along the line.
it could shatter in the air. A broken conversation with a ghost who isn't there. The neighbors play their TV loud, a sitcom's candlelight, a stark and cheerful soundtrack to the silence of my night. They're living in a major key, so confident and bright, while I'm stuck in the basement of a permanent midnight. I read the books you left behind, your notes in the margins small, a secret conversation where I wasn't meant to call. Your questions to the author, your yes and your not true, a vibrant one-sided dialogue I'm now intruding through. So let the seasons change their coats from summer green to fall. I'll wear this same old sweater and I'll lean against this wall. And when they ask me what I do with all the time I've won, I'll say I'm listening closely to the beat of just one drum. Just one drum.
The mute is in the bell, the sound is small and tight. A conversation with the shadows of the night. The sheets of music on the stand are blank and clean, a silent accusation of what should have been. A future that was painted in a gold and blue, now faded to the color of a worn-out shoe. I count the ceiling cracks, a map of my regrets, connecting all the dots of my lonely alphabets. The faucet has a rhythm, drip and drop inside, a meaningless composition passing by, accompanied the frantic ticking of the clock, a duet on the edge of some final silent shock. The doorbell doesn't ring, the phone has lost its tone, a symphony of absence since the final song was sung. The air is thick and still, a held and breathless chord, a weight upon the chest that can't be ignored.
but just a long diminuendo, soft and low. The only kind of ending that